Let's quickly move on. It appears that no sector in Nigeria is immune from the economic hardship ravaging the country. Our lordships at the Court of Appeal are also crying. The president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongban-Mensem, is lamenting over paucity of funds for the 2023 General Election Petition Tribunals. Justice Dongban warned that failure to release funds on time could hamper constitution of various tribunals and courts that would entertain electoral disputes arising from the elections. Gentlemen, is the appeal court just being in a haste?
No. I think that by now the funding for the tribunals should be ready. The Court of Appeal is already facing problems and all kinds of problems. They have bills to pay, inherited liabilities and all that. Now, we've had some explanation is that the tribunals that have been constituted in respect of the Osun, Ekiti, off-season elections have already taken the remainder of the funds at their disposal. So the funds for the constitution of the tribunals across the country have to be made available, since at this time they don't have money anymore. They've run out of money, and they've been waiting for these funds to be released. So are we going to wait until the elections are over? Because we have elections in just about 5 months. Are we going to wait until the elections are over before we release the needed funds? The appeal court has the responsibility for setting up tribunals for state governorship election, National Assembly, presidential, across the country. So that in itself is capital intensive, because you have to maintain those tribunals, the things that they need, you have to put in place. And she's even saying we need money to train the justices that will be on those panels, as well as the support staff, the staff of the judiciary who will assist them in their work. So this is the point that she's making. The appeal court has been complaining for some time, even the judiciary generally. The president said, oh, I'm going to increase the salary of judicial workers, because a situation in which a Supreme Court judge is earning about 209,000 a month is ridiculous. Why? It's a shame. Why are we doing all this? I've been hearing the president, at least like 3 months ago, he said we are going to do something about the salary of judges. You can imagine. And I heard that since 2007, they've not increased judges' salary. And you expect judges to not take bribes. So if you starve the judiciary of the funding, you are going to create all kinds of problems. Even the justice that people deserve, they will not get it, because they will then be tempted to take money from the highest bidder in delivering justice. But what is needed for the day-to-day running of the appeal court has to be provided, first and foremost. And then the issue of their salary has to be addressed. For a CGN to be earning just about 300 and something thousand. I mean, it's just, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. And the other arm of government, the executive, the legislature, that's the National Assembly. Look at what they pay to themselves. And then you leave the judiciary to earn peanuts. Because the justice of the Supreme Court and the president of the Court of Appeal, they are on the same salary scale.
All right, so Mayor, going by the last part of BKO's statements, the Nigerian Bar Association and Justice Monica said this is a deliberate attempt by the legislative arm of government and executive arm of government to deliberately weaken Nigerian courts.
I don't think so. It's just that it's not that it's a deliberate attempt to weaken Nigerian court. It's just that we take the judiciary for granted. And because the executive the executive and the legislative arm, because they were the one that give confirmation to whatever the executive wants to do. They can afford to pay whatever they like to themselves. It is ridiculous that what the CJ Hen is not up to the allowances to a member of House of Rep, who probably will not even go to the assembly. He will just be loafing somewhere. But it's just because we don't take the judiciary seriously. So I think the first step is for them to be on a different, to be able to get their own from the first line charge, to get their funding without depending on the executive, so that they will be able to do their budget and determine how the money is released to different costs. If they depend on the executive, somebody, an incompetent officer will just sit down there and just believe that we don't have the money now. So the judiciary must be seen to be independent, and they must have their own as a first line charge, so they don't depend on the executive for their funding. That is one. Then second, it is not right for government, for the president of the appeal court to be appealing to the executive to release funds to them. It is irresponsible on the part of the executive if that happens, because when you budget money for elections, when you release money for elections, you release money to INEC for elections, it is right to know that there will be petitions that will emanate from those elections. So if you don't provide for that, it's just that you have not provided for the election that you want to conduct. Because naturally there is going to be a dispute in those elections, and that is the court that's going to adjudicate over the matter. So it is important that they should not be appealed to. They should know, as a matter of urgency, that the money ought to be released as soon as possible, not close to the election, because there must be people that, because if there is an election and there is a miscarriage of justice, and those who are supposed to be able to determine the correctness of whatever happened, and if they are not in a position to do so, then deliberately the election is flawed. We have planned for that election not to succeed, because it's not only for the people to vote. There must be dispute that will arise from that election, and the judiciary must be able to be in a position to do the needful. If we don't provide for that, that means we are not doing the needful. We are not providing all the necessary things for the election to be successful.
Mikhail, who will help the Court of Appeal in this situation?
I just think that there should be full autonomy granted the judiciary as well as the legislature. It is embarrassing for these guys to be begging the executive to do its job. I think it was one governor that said the other day, former governor, Donald Duke, that said judges, when they are posted to states, they will start calling governors to give them accommodation. When you put judges in this kind of situation, you are making it difficult for them to not compromise. Because it was said that even when justice went against a particular governor, he ejected them from the quarters that he gave them. This shouldn't be happening. I was talking about salary of judges. The CJN's basic salary is actually 3,353,972 per annum, which translates to 279,000 per month. That's his basic salary. For the Supreme Court justices and the president of the Court of Appeal, their basic salary is 2,477,110 per annum, which translates to 206,425
In a month.
basic salary. Or somebody who has risen to the rank of Supreme Court judge, somebody who has risen to the rank of president of the Court of Appeal. A lot of the problems we have in our country are man-made. If people are saying, judiciary, they are slow in dispensing justice, we know that some of those problems are there because certain people refuse to do what they should do. The President of Court of Appeal was saying that, look, they are trying to invest in ICT, but that this paucity of funds is making it difficult for them to be able to invest in ICT. Now, we know that technology will help us hasten the judicial process. So if we do not provide what is needed to hasten the judicial process, do we have any reason to complain if justice gets delayed or even ultimately gets denied? So these are the issues. These complaints shouldn't be coming. We shouldn't be seeing or hearing about this kind of complaint that the judiciary has not got the funds that it needs to do its work. It's not what we should be hearing. They should be given priority. At the beginning of every year, provide them with what they need. Don't tamper with their funds. Don't sit on their funds. In fact, that's why a lot of us want this autonomy to happen. So that they can sit, they can preside over their own financial matters. Look at what the new NBA chairman is saying. There is a deliberate ploy to emasculate and pauperize the courts, and by so doing strangulate the cause of justice in the nation. I may not totally agree. I may see what's going on as inefficiency, because they are not the only ones affected by this kind of things, you know. For the military, for example, that needs to fight a war, I know that the president called the CBN governor to say, look, for these people, whatever they need, I don't want any form of delay. You know, that's why you are able to see them, you know, prosecuting this war without let. That sort of attention ought to be given to the judiciary as well, so that we won't be getting this kind of complaints.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen.